What up, what up, what up, internet, where you are, where you be, where you at, what you see. This is Pop Cult Parent, and if you wanted me to speak more highly of you, then perhaps you should have treated me better, Playboy. Yeah, I already apologize. It's going to happen a lot tonight. But hey, internet, it's good to be here. I'm one of your hosts, Mark MF Jones, and I'm honored to be joined by...
This is Niels RY, aka you gotta tell Diddy no. You gotta tell him no.
And also, this is Shannon, aka I cannot find my password for Tubi or Netflix. I repeat, I cannot find my password for Tubi or Netflix.
Oh man. And if you haven't figured it out, pop cult internet, we're going to be talking about the famous, infamous, groundbreaking, internet shattering, viral sensation, the Katt Williams interview on Club Shay Shay. But before we get into it, I think we are joined by a special guest today. Sir, please introduce yourself to the pop cult.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Elliot Carter, aka the Coffee Plug, aka your new favorite coffee guy, one of the co-founders of Black Nerd Coffee. So,
Hey.
What's going on? He helps keep the lights on over here.
Elliot, we are excited to have you. And as you all do know, if you're a member of the pop cult, then you are aware that we love Black Nerd Coffee over here. Black Nerd Coffee has been a sponsor for the past couple of months. We are a fan. For those of you who are seeing this, I am rocking the Black Nerd Coffee paraphernalia.
I see you got the drip.
And I am
appreciate that.
Addicted, like legit addicted to your product. But I'm not calling you a pusher. I'm just saying I'm addicted to the product that you're pushing. Elliot, anything you want to share a bit about Black Nerd Coffee for the pop cult?
I mean, just, Black Nerd Coffee was started by myself and my wife, Annie. We're both HBCU graduates. We both went to FAMU. Not sure if you guys saw us winning that football game a couple weeks ago. But our focus is we're a local DMV coffee roaster. We focus on small batch roasted coffee. And really our whole goal was to be able to roast a coffee that you can enjoy black. So that's, no cream, no sugar. And in sharing and roasting this coffee, we want to just introduce everyone to the world of, great coffee, because everyone deserves better than just okay coffee. And Niels, in addition to coffee, we got some pretty cool swag, and, we get a chance to partner with wonderful guys like yourselves. So it's a pleasure for us. That's all I got to say about Black Nerd Coffee. I want to talk about this interview, though.
Well, we appreciate you, and we are excited to have you here. For those of you who are familiar with the pop cult, 2024 had an interesting start. On the most recent episode of Club Shay Shay, which is a show hosted by NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, he had the comedic legend himself, Katt Williams, do an interview on Club Shay Shay. Now, mind you, Club Shay Shay has had over 100 episodes. I've seen clips of Club Shay Shay. I've never watched a full episode of Club Shay Shay, but I respect Shannon Sharpe. The brother is doing his thing. And at the time of this recording, this interview has over 44 million views on YouTube, just on YouTube. And I got to say this. If we were saying that we were going to talk about one of the most popular interviews of all time and not mentioning Barbara Walters or Oprah, but mentioning Shannon Sharpe as the person who is doing this interview, we probably could have won some money, because I'm sure nobody had that on their 2024 bingo card. But this interview was something. And half of Black comedic Hollywood was mentioned in this interview. It has made a big impact on everybody. And I'll just quickly say before we jump in that Katt Williams in the interview mentions that he has 12 specials, and Katt Williams lied because he has 13 specials. This interview in itself was a comedic special in its own. So that is a bit of the context about the Katt Williams Club Shay Shay interview. So, fellas, the one thing I want to know, I mean, I'm curious on what you all think when you heard about this interview and when you watched the interview. What were your reactions? What were your immediate thoughts or feelings when you heard Katt Williams be Katt Williams?
So I'm gonna say my first one, he came in hot. Like this was, so I think of, like diss songs and everything, and how so many diss songs have been subliminal. They've been like,
Yeah.
they say a little line and you got to be like, oh, he was talking about Jay-Z there. I ain't know that. This was our modern day hit 'em up. He came in hot. He said, F. Faison Love, Said the Entertainer, F. Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, Gary Owens, you're cool. Wanda Sykes, not Smith, you're cool. Like, he came in hot, like legit. I feel like Shannon Sharp was trying to set that sort of foundation that you would do in an interview. Like, yeah, you got stuff coming up. How's life?
poor,
He just
poor
like
Shannon Sharp. Like this whole he just I was not to interrupt you, Shannon, but this whole interview he's just like, you can't let me and the cat just like, hold on, Shannon, hold on. He just like, okay.
absolutely. So with that happening, I was instantly interested. I was already interested because I was watching it. But to me, I was just like, this is gold. This is amazing. It is no filler, straight to the point. Loved it. So that's how it was.
Yo, this was Tupac hit him up interview style. You are 100% right, Shannon. First off, like he like came out the gate swinging. Poor Shannon Sharp.
It was like what was the 50 Cent joint, teach you how to rob, or when he went after everyone when 50 Cent was like brand new, went after Jay-Z, everybody. Like it is the greatest thing. Like I don't think I've ever heard anyone speak badly of Ludacris before. Like that's the greatest thing about this interview.
He's like
people
one
were
of
just
the most wholesome celebrities that we have. And I mean, the fact that he caught like some fire in that interview, just look, I mean, that's not what I expected in the first week of 2024, right? But I mean, at the end of the interview, I just had to go back and watch it a couple times and make sure he didn't say anything bad about me. I mean, he was talking about everybody. So
am I in there? Dang. Like,
right. Like, did I miss something?
But that's what kills me because like like no one says nothing about Ludacris. Like a lot, like when's the last time you heard someone talk like that, right? And so I just imagine all these people and these comedians
just gonna drop it in there. T.I.
Oh no. Well, what I'm getting at is like you don't hear it a lot, right? So what I just imagine these people just like doing their laundry at home and just like grabbing their hearts, like, what is it, Daddy? The Stubbins and the Force, like I could just feel the thunder coming.
Like no one comes after Ricky Smiley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ricky Smiley. It's not even that he caught it straight. Ricky Smiley had a segment in this special, and like no one comes. It's Ricky Smiley. You know what I'm saying? This man hosted Comic View at least 3 times. Like, no one comes after him. So, like, I'm sure he was, when he came to work on that next day, I'm sure he was not ready to have to take some legit time and speak towards the flames that he got. Like, he wasn't expecting that.
No, it was like that scene in the first Terminator where he goes to the cop station and just like laid waste and then left without a trace.
Yeah, man.
I think and I think even Shannon Sharp said that, you know what, I don't think I can get anybody back on here. But then Katt kind of corrected him and said, no, now everybody's gonna want to come on here because they're gonna want to tell their part of the story. And I think for all the people that he called out and he aired his grievances, only a couple really, responded. Ludacris gave us, some bars as far as, defending his honor. Kevin Hart, he responded. Has Steve said anything yet? I think
I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard Steve say anything.
I don't think Steve said anything, and probably because he's too busy counting his money. So
he's gonna do his own. I mean, doesn't he have a radio show? Like, let me tell you,
he has a radio show. He
Kitty
has
the Cat
3 TV
Williams.
shows.
Yeah, so
Right.
he'll respond in
Exactly.
due time. He's gonna respond on his own time. I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what he won't do though? He won't do a stand-up segment about him though.
No,
Will not.
no,
Nope.
no.
Nope. You know what's been hitting me too? I was like, nobody has now. Like we said, some people have come out and they've defended themselves. They've been like, I didn't steal jokes. I am funny. I'm this, I'm that. I was thinking about this and laughing. I was like, nobody has came out to defend their wife because he called out some people. Because the comment he said, it's like they know that they were getting hit. It was like, and I mean, we go into it. We talking about the Illuminati. And he was like, "This is what you get." He was like, "You get." He was like the light skinned wife with the funny face, and nobody interviews her and this and that. Now, you could be like, he ain't talking about me, but then, but then you can look and be like, So I don't even know what you do there. Is that something where you're like, he not talking about me, so you don't acknowledge it? Or if it's like, that's aimed at you, do you then, by you not saying anything, is that you acknowledging it? It's like, look,
Shannon, it's a war zone, buddy. You keep that head down and you bear crawl to the you get in the trenches, you keep that head down, and you just keep it moving.
Yeah.
You miss the
imagine
bullets.
Could you imagine like the Steve Harvey like dinner table, like you're not gonna say nothing, you just gonna let him talk about us like that? Like imagine all those, what did he call it? He named 8 people with those descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's just got to be awkward. They go into Nobu and then like, oh, you're not gonna say nothing. You're not gonna defend my honor.
You gotta call your professionals in. You gotta bring in your publicists. You can't do that argument. You're never gonna win if you have to defend your reasons for not going back at Katt. You gotta have the people you pay money to, like publicists, like, no, Steve, actually, it doesn't make sense economically for you to do this, that, and the third. Like, if it's you, your wife is looking at you like, if you don't say something, I'm gonna say something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Unless Katt Williams was right. And they don't talk. Just saying.
Because that's the thing. I feel like without a PR team, you're gonna be like, look, my wife has done interviews and this and that, and then she's like, oh, but I got a funny looking face then because you didn't defend that part. So that part,
there's no winning.
It's a lose. You respond. It's like, what this whole interview was? It was like, like at the lunch table when like you were in school and someone's just going in on someone, just joning, just getting them, and it's legit funny, but it's like, that person knows if I try to clap back, they're gonna spirit bomb me, they're gonna destroy me. So like, let me just funny and just deal with it, and hopefully that storm will pass.
Yeah, and you can't laugh too hard if you in that vicinity. And you are rolling laughing. He's like, oh, you're laughing a little too hard at my jokes.
Oh,
it's your turn now.
Yeah.
The dangerous waters right there.
Everyone's at that lunch table like, God, please, not me next. Like, don't bring it over here. You try to act like you're engaged, but like you try to act like you got your own stuff going on. Like, let me just do my homework over here, and I'll put my head up every now and then, give a couple laughs.
I will say one thing that I do appreciate that I took from the interview is it gave me a nudge to go back into the 90s that he was referring to. Like, when's the last time we heard about Faison Love? And then I remembered that he was one of my favorite characters in Who's Your Caddy? Y'all seen that one, right? Yeah.
I have not seen Who's Your Caddy.
Right?
That's a deep cut there, Elliot.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, he was like one of my favorite, or the fact that, I mean, I grew up watching BET Comic View, like, because it'll come on late at night, like my folks went to bed and I'm supposed to be asleep. And so the fact that he rehashed that and brought that back up, a lot of his grievances are kind of based in his experience there. It gave me the nudge to go back and revisit those things. And I was like, wow, stand-up comedy was different back then.
Mm-hmm.
So
they were like Comic View and Def Comedy Jam. We held those things to such high regards in our community back when they were out. Like we treated stand-up comedians like we treat athletes.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, especially because of Comic View. But I will say this. Cedric did take Cat Williams jokes from Comic View. Like I remember
side by side. I'm like,
yeah, I remember watching that joke. I remember it being a commercial on Comic View, and I remember watching Kings of Comedy and being like, this looks familiar. So like it is like there's only a couple subtle differences with the drive-in and the rolling the windows and stuff like that. It's the same joke. But back to your point, Elliot, like yes, Comic View was something special. I do miss Comic View. They ain't really something like that. And like what's even like crazy is the vibe of Comic View and Def Comedy Jam, they were like unique and like specific and different. It wasn't like they were just trying to make a new Def Comedy Jam, but for BET. Like it really did feel like a lounge type of LA type of like stand-up comedy shop versus like the Apollo, but like straight hardcore. If you ain't funny, you ain't got good jokes, like you need to bring it for Def Comedy Jam, and like it's embedded with hip hop at the same time. Like
to me, Def Comedy Jam felt like you were gonna go see funny people, but it was like kind of like a closed club kind of thing. Comic View, for whatever reason, felt like you had like a family reunion or just chilling in your grandma's living room listening to someone be funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just had that vibe to it.
Yeah.
But they both were like staples in comedy and hip hop and black culture, all that stuff.
If it wasn't for Comic View, we wouldn't have Ricky Smiley. Because it wasn't like he was big on Def Comedy Jam. I don't even know if he ever was on Def Comedy Jam. But the brother hosted Comic View several times, and that is why he has the radio show that he has now. It's because of his job on Comic View. So
yeah, I think Comic View brought us, what's my man's name? Bruce.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Bruce was hilarious. I feel like, Bruce and, like you said, Ricky Smiley, his whole little Daryl bit. I feel like, being optimistic here, I think it was a rare opportunity for someone like Katt to have been in both of those eras, and connect those two eras. Because Katt was big back in the 90s, but then Katt was also one of the memorable characters in Wild 'N Out, right? And as someone who enjoys comedy, because I mean, how can you not like comedy? If you don't like comedy, you don't like laughing, then you just don't like, a lot of things. So, but I think he offered like a really unique perspective. And I mean, as much as it was like a scorched earth, like airing out all his grievances, I was kind of nosy too. Like the part that he said about like Steve Harvey and how Steve was trying to like knock Bernie for like the Ocean's 11 role. And see, this is what happens. It's like, Katt made this interview and people forgot about all these people. And then they start realizing, oh yeah, that's right. Because after I heard about the interview, I immediately went to X, formerly Twitter, and I was like, yo, that's really true. Oh, do you guys remember this? Oh, do you guys remember this? And you're just like, wow, this is we're in rare air. It felt like The Last Dance. It felt
can we talk about some of these things that he said then? Because look, y'all, can I just start with Steve and hanging with Mr. Cooper? Because I've been having some hot takes that's been burning in my pocket that I need to talk to y'all about. I think Katt was right about a lot of stuff. I think Katt over embellished a whole bunch of stuff. As a fellow over embellisher, I completely understand. But like here's the thing. I watched Hanging with Mr. Cooper, right? And I watched the Steve Harvey show. There are some similarities, but I do think those shows were uniquely different. Mark or Cooper, Mr. Cooper, he used to play in the NBA. And then he was like a washed-up athlete that became a coach at a school or a PE teacher at a school. Steve was a washed-up musician and ended up becoming a music teacher at a school. But honestly, I think it kind of ends there. When I remember hanging with Mr. Cooper, it reminded me of a Black Threes Company. Like that's
Yeah.
legit. When I looked
Yeah.
at it, it seemed like Black Three's Company. When I think of the Steve Harvey Show, I don't think of like Three's Company. I think of like, I don't know, like Welcome Back, Mr. Carter. Like
Mhm.
it gives a different vibe than the two shows. But Steve did steal Mark Curry's jokes. That is true. He did very much so do that. But outside of that, like I would say those two shows were unique and different to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, what's the saying? Great artists steal, and everyone steals, dog. Like everything is something of something. Speed is Die Hard on a bus. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, like there's plenty of examples of that. But
Right.
like I
Like
never put,
nothing, there's nothing new under the sun. I think
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
different
And it's
word.
all
Like
about
nothing new
making
under the sun.
making it your own. I never thought about it though, Nels. Like until he said it, I was like, Like I was like, yo, high school, you know what I'm saying? But no, I think you're right. They are fundamentally two different shows, but that doesn't mean that there was a office or a room and people are like, hey, we want to take this idea and make it this idea. You know what I'm saying? That happens
Mhm.
all the time in Hollywood.
Mhm.
So, and
Unless it
and
was
some
friends and
people
living single,
I was
that
just thinking that. Yep.
some people are better.
right?
There you go.
Unless
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
friends and
Friends of
living
living
single.
single. Some people are better at let me copy your homework and changing it up a little bit. And some people just erase your name and put their name on it.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So, in talking about Cat Williams as like a comedic himself, I am curious on what y'all's opinion of Cat Williams. Like going into this interview, where did you have Cat Williams as far as like a comedic legend? And like, did you think like he is in the same era as the folks he was talking about, like within the interview?
I'll mention that. So one, it just had me thinking, I really had not thought about how long Cat Williams had been in the game because for me,
Hmm.
I feel like I really came across Cat Williams pretty much early 2000s, when he did the Pimp Chronicles. And it had me thinking, yo, he did that character so well, the like Money Mike, the pimp, because I mean, Pimp Chronicles was, I mean, essentially, pimp, like pimp style, Money Mike, pimp.
It was Money
And
Mike's stand-up show.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. And I'm like,
The Money
he
Mike
had
Show. Like
exactly. But I'm like, he had that character down so well that it really like seeing him in later shows and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, he's not like that. He's a guy. He's just a guy, and like the whole pimping is not really. I mean, it's just a bit. Yeah, it made me think about just dag, like how long has he been in here? Because he was talking about the stuff from the 90s and going through all of that. I'm like, dag, like so by the time we even saw him say what was that, maybe about '06, probably Pimp Chronicles, and maybe we saw him in a show here and there earlier than '06, in the 2000s. It was like he had been putting in time and he was, yeah, so he was big. But yeah, it for me the biggest thing was it made me think of just how long he had been in the game, all the stuff he saw. And also, I mean, I don't think anybody, I don't think anybody can, or especially for him, be able to tell everything they know in one sitting. So it has me like, yo, how much more, whether you want to call it dirt, whether you want to just call it, I know this, I know that. Like, how much does he have on people? Because I remember he made the statement of like, he's like, it's not even necessarily me hanging with these people. People will hang with them, they'll do stuff, and they'll come back and tell me. He's like, so I got a long list of people to
Yo,
call out, what to call out for. Like,
he
bruh.
he was like, what was the dude's name in Game of Thrones? I think it was Viserys. He's like, my little birds. My little birds go to the kingdom and bring me
Uh-huh.
messages. I'm like, I just see this network of like street urchins and just like flowers on the wall, like whispering in Cat Williams' ears, like psst, 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 P Diddy's party, Steve Harvey, and he gives them like a couple dollars, and they like go back into the like valleys of
Fly
Hollywood.
away. Scatter away.
Yeah.
Hey, look, one of the notes that I wrote down as I was getting ready for the podcast and rewatching this, he said he gathers secrets. And how many more? Think about it this now. Now that he's done this interview, how many more parties is Katt gonna get invited to? Because you know that this man is sitting in the corner just listening and just waiting
That's
for the
what his
next
network's for, dog.
podcast to just
He
air
got the
you
little
out.
birds to just do
Yeah,
it.
he
for
ain't going to
him.
those parties.
Man,
But his
that's
friends
tough.
might be going to those parties.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But Elliot, what's
Somebody
your-
went to Diddy's party and didn't sign the NDA. So you know, so you gonna learn.
I mean, you were gonna ask what was my I mean, look, man, I got so many notes that I wrote down on here to get ready.
Gonna be
Like,
prepared.
I was like, yeah. So I mean, look, Katt Williams, the whole interview, reminded me that he was a very funny person. I mean, a pimp named Slickback on the Boondocks, one of my favorite, most memorable characters, you know. And then, yeah, Pimp Chronicles. I remember like that time. I think it was like 07, 08 when it came out, and like we used to quote it like word for word, like his whole bit. Like, I mean, deaf. I can't hear. Like, yeah, it still stands up, you know? So, like, it's a very memorable stand up. And I will be honest, though, like, out after Pimp Chronicles, I didn't really truly follow like his career. Like, I know he had a bunch of specials, comedy specials, and things like that. But I do remember that he's funny. We all remember him as Money Mike in, the Friday movies and things like that. And he just always had this, this ability to just, I'm not going to say it was relatable, but like he kind of made you understand like what it was like to be, a funny person. And I wasn't quite sure if he was playing a pimp as a personality or if he really was a pimp or like, but like, I will say one of the things that I did learn from this interview is, I guess the children that he says he claimed, like, are those his biological kids or
Adopted.
Did he adopt them?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He adopted all his children?
All his kids are adopted.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Which one of the kids was upset when he ate all the Cheerios on the top of the fridge?
Yeah, that was his oldest kid. Yeah.
So
you always act like this when you smell like pine cones in the house.
He was like, it was them insurgents.
But as far as
insurgents must say.
But as far as like where does he rank in like the pantheon of like Black comedians and comedians in general? That's kind of hard, right? Because like he, in the same breath that he said, oh, Martin was like the top and he was funny, he also kind of knocked him down as well too. And so I think a lot of what he said it came from a place of grievance. Like you could tell he was just letting it all out. And like you said, maybe a lot of it was embellished, maybe a lot of it was misremembered, but like this guy was hurt. And I think every person that he called out had either hurt him or he felt hurt or he felt neglected in some way. And he was like, look, everybody needs to know. And I got time today. And, Uncle Shannon, he had that cognac. He just, he let it flow. So,
yeah.
They had a therapy session.
From his point of view, from his truth, I think he thinks, and I'm not saying that he's not true, everything that he's saying coming out of his mouth is the truth from where he stands, from where he's been. And that's why it came out so easily, because the truth, the truth just flows easily. When you lie, then you got to backtrack and think and remember and whoa, wait, I can't say that. But that man was like chilling. He might as well have that interview in his own house, in his bed. He was just like, he's like, I am not under the influence and I am of sober mind, Shannon Sharp. And he's just like, I got nothing to hide, like it. But
yeah, where would you put him comedically?
Yeah, like Katt Williams for me, I just like Shannon, like you said, I'm like, man, this dude's been in the game. I didn't remember seeing him on Comic View until like this. I was like, man, Comic View. Cat Williams, I think he's one of those guys for me personally. Every time he's in something, he's kind of the best part of it, whatever he's been in. I don't go looking for Cat Williams stuff anymore. After Print Chronicles, I don't go looking for it. But like if it comes across my way, my screen, I watch it, because he's a very funny person, very entertaining. I don't know where I would rank him, man. I feel like there's a couple people I would have before him, but it's not like he doesn't deserve to be in the discussion. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the best who ever did it. It's like, yeah, stay in the room. Like we'll find a place for you. I don't know if it's gonna be in the top five, but we'll find a spot for you. And then with this interview, it it just showed that I feel like not that he's always on. He is like a man of his craft, and he is a man of like he is confident in where he stands and what he believes in. And like you said, it might be embellished, but like I think from his point of view, he's like, this is the truth, and I live in this and I'm gonna speak my mind about it.
And I was gonna be, I know everybody likes they sort of tout the title or the saying, the hardest working man in show business, or saying that.
Hmm.
But it opened my eyes to his work ethic as well. Because I mean, if we're not professional comedians, sometimes people just think, "Oh, you're funny. You just you write out some stuff and then you go up there and you say stuff and it's funny." But he's like, the work that you put into a joke, like even when he was saying, they use the question of, how do you know when you're done with a joke or when you know a joke is just perfect? And I mean, it was funny, but the comparison he asked Shannon Sharp, he was like, how do you know if you're done with a woman that you're with or whatever? But he's like, his reason for saying that was like, because I go to different places, I perfect it, I learn different things, I learn it works here, it doesn't here, I need to tweak this, I need to do this. Like I guess like in a relationship you learn it's not going to be like this all the time. I need to do this in some cases, I need to say this, I need to learn how to do this. But I was like, I never even thought about a joke being like that. It was basically being like, I got to take this one joke, I got to take it halfway through America before. And it's like different crowds. We're talking red states, blue states, working class, this, that, black, white. I have to have all of these before I know it's a good joke because all of these people will laugh at it.
And shit,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. No, I was
But
gonna say basically because what you just said is why stealing jokes is such a big deal
mhm.
in
Yeah.
comedy. It's like because I did all this work to get this thing to land, and it got a big reaction, and you didn't see that. You didn't like show your work. Like man, if you didn't see all the legwork, this took me a year to get this joke to get here, and you just took it and you just grabbed it where the finish line was, and that's why that's such a
Ooh.
big no-no in comedy.
Yeah.
But
Won't be
so to
product
that
without the
point
process.
though, yeah. So like going back to the whole like the great steal, hypothetically, of all the jokes that he said were stolen from him, do you think there's a scenario? Do you think there's somewhere in this multiverse where the joke got stolen, but he didn't feel slighted? Think about what happened to Tracy Chapman with Fast Cars, right? Everyone was like, oh my gosh, Fast Cars, like great song. But it didn't get the recognition that it got until my guy, was it Luke Bryan, sang it, and it got like a country music award.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Man,
So like,
that's a deep cut.
Mhm.
Don't nobody talk about Tracy Chapman.
Yeah.
But
you
yeah,
think
I
about it, like
remember
so, like
that. I remember that.
so like the whole bit with like with the driving the spaceship like a Cadillac, like do you think if Said would have gone back and said when confronted with it, if he would have been like, yeah, I got that from Cat, do you think Cat would have been as upset?
Well,
If he
the
gave
thing is,
Cat his props, no, I don't think Cat. I mean, he probably would still rub it in like I
Mm-hmm.
got kings of comedy stealing my
Right.
jokes. Like he probably said
Yeah,
some stuff like that.
exactly. Yeah.
But
but like I
I don't
think
think
if
he
you're
would have gone
said
in
you can't admit to if you're
You
a
can't own up to that.
comedian,
I
you
get
can't
that.
admit that you still jokes. Like you gotta like
and do it.
deny, because
Yep.
it's just it's
Deny
you
it
don't
till
do
you
that. You
die.
don't do that. I think so with comedy, I think it's an interesting realm. Like there's things that are happening. So people are talking about it, and there might be similar jokes, right? Like back in the 90s, there was tons of OJ Simpson jokes. And they were similar, but like, this comic had this one, but that Cadillac joke, that space shuttle joke, like that is like note from note, erase Cadillac right in space shuttle. Like it's the same exact thing. And so that's a little like, ugh, like that doesn't look too hot, said, you know?
Yeah, that's tough. And I think, I think when people do that, they think it's so like no one's ever gonna know this, and it's almost as if like maybe said was not expecting Katt to get as big and be able to go back and revisit this, right? Because he's like, ain't no one's gonna know that I stole this joke from this, no name comedian or whatever. But haha, joke's on you, pun intended.
Yeah.
That I'm just as big of a comedian as you are. So,
and
I
it was
think
a
you're
different
right.
time.
I
It
think
was
you're
a
right.
different time, fellas. Like there was no internet to keep the log date, the captain's log date on. It was think about how many rumors.
Comic View was off air.
Yeah, and like think about how many rumors and stuff back in the day. Oh, did y'all see this thing that happened? And so you would either have to wait to see it happen like on a rerun or know someone who made it taped it. You know what I'm saying? So things would just get lost and like the times of pop culture. But like, and I think we always forget that nowadays because we could just go to the tape, because everything's on YouTube now. But you could steal stuff probably back in the day, and like it'd be rumored, like, oh, Cedric took my joke, and it's like, oh, nah, man, that because like you said, no, Comic View isn't on TV, so where's the proof? You know what I'm saying? But now we got the proof.
2 clicks and you'll find everything,
2 clicks.
except for Shazam. Why is everything on the internet? And look, I will fight this from hell to high water. This movie existed. I know
what happened to the movie,
Nels? And millions of other people have admitted that they have seen this movie too.
What happened?
I don't know how these people in power.
Saying you've never seen Shazam? Is that what you're saying?
The Genie movie Shazam. Have you seen it?
Yes.
With Sinbad.
With Sinbad.
It had a great opening weekend. We all remember the numbers.
And it's not the Shazam with the superhero and the cape.
No, he's talking about the
I'm saying that's not it.
Yeah, the disappeared Mandela effect that doesn't exist.
It does. It does.
What happened? I
don't know what happened, Mark. I don't know. We are living in a system. I do not know what's going on. This is a simulation. I swear to goodness, whatever. I'm putting it on wax. Shazam existed, but neither here nor there. Let me because I do want to talk about a couple of the things that he said about comedians, and then we can wrap it up. But I do want to just say a few things about Katt Williams as a comedic himself. To me, Pimp Chronicles Volume 1 is one of the funniest. It's one of the funniest comedy stand-ups I've ever seen. Like one of the funniest specials I've ever seen. I'm putting it top 5 like of specials I've ever seen.
Wow.
To me, it is on delirious raw level. Like it is on that level of hilarious. Like I laughed hard the entire special from beginning to end.
It was definitely a thing, and it was in the pop culture deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can vividly remember times where I've laughed that hard, and like Pimp Chronicles is like there. And so for that fact and that fact alone, just from that one special, mind you, some of his other specials are really funny too. But because he has one of the greatest specials, in my opinion, then he's always going to be in the conversation. Like he's always, anytime you're talking about like comedians and like things that they have accomplished, you're gonna mention Katt Williams, especially if he can do Money Mike and then do that jail scene from the movie that nobody watches, or like that movie nobody likes. I think it's called School Dance. But everybody remembers him talking to Tiffany Haddish, being like, "Who white baby is this?" You know what I'm saying? Like everybody remembers that part. Like this man can just like come in and make dope comedic moments, and he has the backing of a Pimp Chronicles.
No, school dance.
School Dance.
School Dance.
You,
Yeah.
brother, I trust me. You have not watched this movie. I know you have not watched this movie. Nobody has watched it, but you might have seen this scene where Katt Williams is in prison. Tiffany Haddish is coming with two kids, and one kid's like a 12-year-old boy or I don't know, teenage boy, and he has like, or she has a white baby. A white, and like Katt Williams says, that is a white baby, white from the Caucasus, white like rice. Like he like just goes in. It is it's hilarious. It is hilarious.
I've been
That's
here
not my
for
baby.
15 consecutive years. You know what consecutive means? That means one after the other. And this is like clearly like a 3-year-old maybe. And he's like, how is that my baby?
It's funny. I strongly suggest you watch it. So I say all that to say he's up there. Y'all, we talked about a few things and a few things that he said about a few comedians. I just want to throw some other ones out there just so it is heard. The brother goes in on Ricky Smiley and really just goes in on the fact that Ricky Smiley wasn't Money Mike. I feel like he did not have to punch that hard. Like, I don't know what the competition is, but brother, you won. Why are you coming at Ricky Smiley so hard?
This must be something that like whenever like Ricky's in a room and he leaves and then like Katt comes in a room, it's like, oh yeah, and Ricky told me he was supposed to be Money Mike. And this must be happening for years, and he has had enough, dog. It's like, you know what this was? You remember when you played Pokemon and you go and you do all your thing, you fight the Elite Four, and you come back to Pallet Town a monster, and it'd be like, you want to battle me? And you just lay waste.
It's like, you really want it with me? I'm the champion.
You're level 84 Dragonite against that like level 2 Caterpie. And you just like, that's what this was.
And you still go for Hyper Beam? Like, no reason to do it. You can legit pick anything else, but you pick your hardest move.
The Hyper Beam, yeah.
Yes. I clearly know what you're talking about. So, like, I feel like Ricky, I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think? Like, did he have to go as hard as he did on Ricky Smiley?
So, I'll say this real quick, and I'll let you go. So, I think he did on that part. As the common people initially, I was like, yeah, man, dang, nobody comes at Ricky Smiley like, why you do that? But the story he told behind it, when he's like, I was basically sleeping in my trailer. I was like, I knew I had to make this role work. I had the dental work that needed to be done. I had this and I had a little baby. And I was like, if this role doesn't work, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is it for us. And even the fact that he's like, what Money Mike said, like, I wrote that stuff. It wasn't like, oh, here's a character, plug you in because we think you'd be great for it. They were like, boom. And I created the dialogue. I created that. I had to make this work. This was do or die. And it's not even to say that this character was created for me. It feels like I was created for this character. And so I'm like,
I am a boy, Damon.
Yeah. And so then he's like, for somebody to come up and be like, man, I was supposed to be that dude. And, they went ahead and let him have it or whatever. I was like, for somebody to come up and do that, he's like, yeah, I gotta scorch earth. I gotta lay you out. So I think he did have to go that hard when you put all of that into context,
Shannon, that actually makes a lot of sense. You're saying that Katt Williams, that was his reasonable doubt. And someone's like, oh, that's supposed to be my album. They're going to give me that release. And he's like, nah. You can't talk about my baby like that. Like, I put too much time and energy on it. That makes a lot of sense.
Kanye was supposed to give me that beat, but I turned it down. And he gave it to you.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Kanye caught fire in that interview too. So
did he catch fire, or is he more like, what's wrong with y'all for like paying so much attention to Kanye? Y'all know Kanye's going through stuff, and y'all still paying attention to him. So.
Well, maybe Kanye did, but Kim definitely did. I feel like there was a lot of collateral damage, like in his rants, like the 7 wives, the 8 wives. Like, what the wives ever do to you, Katt? Like, come on, like
Kim didn't catch a stray. Kim caught a drive-by. That was a focused, articulate sharpshooter shot.
That was Call of Duty level, like standing from the other side of the board. And he's like, I'm going for it.
Well, and you know, I think listening to the interview and comments in general, Cat Williams seems like he's highly intelligent, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like he takes the craft of comedy very seriously. Because when he what does he say? He's like on paper
3,000 books
there yeah 3,000
Yeah.
books in a week or whatever he was saying. But
in a year.
you know, he's like on paper they're a superior team, but let us get to the line, playboy. You know, and I love that part of the interview because Shannon Sharp is sitting back. He's like, wow, wow. Just like that's all he got. That's all he got to say.
This man is a
Can we-
professional interviewer at this point now.
Professional. One of the biggest podcasts. He's like, wow.
He goes against Stephen A. Smith on a regular basis, and he was left speechless. What?
Can we just
Oh,
give
man.
Shannon credit for like holding it together and not pounding that entire bottle of cognac to like really keep the interview together and keep it moving? Because there were a couple times where he was laughing. I don't know if it was a nervous laugh or if it was like a laugh because it was funny, but he was just like, you know how your homeboy starts going off and like, oh yeah, man, I remember back in the day when I was this, and you just kind of laughing because, like you said earlier, Shannon, you don't want to laugh too hard because then he's gonna come after you. And I feel like Shannon, Uncle Shay, he was on that level. Like, I'm gonna just keep
Yeah,
laughing because
he
I don't want to catch none of these strays.
bullets grazed past him because there's a couple
Sure did.
moments where Cat Williams didn't go after him, but he's like, "What do you think a plan is?" Maybe people don't know the definition of these words. And then what did he say, dog? The quote exactly when he's like, "You seem to like be in the presence of losers a lot or
Yes.
something."
You have an unnatural allegiance to losers. And
Yes.
that's not like you. I was like, yes. I was like, all right, Shannon Sharp, that one hit you. All right.
Wow.
Don't say too
Wow.
much else.
Wow.
That's crazy. And this man has like multiple Super Bowls. How is he in the presence of losers? Come on, Cat.
Oh man, that was rough. All right, a couple other ones that he named. Just throwing this out there. He came after Michael Blackston, the self-proclaimed African king of comedy. He's from Ghana though, so we gonna rep him. He's good people. Came after Wanda Smith again. Came after Kevin Hart. Said that him and Kevin Hart haven't been in the same building for what, like 25 years, something like that. Came after Chris Tucker. Said that Michael Jackson had a nickname for him, called him Christmas,
Bruh,
which is
hold on.
wild.
Dog. When I
Wild.
heard that, I was like, "What?" Like I'm sorry, no grown man should call another grown man Christmas, dog. Pick another holiday. It is a one. Pick any of them.
I don't want to be called a holiday. please call me something else.
Like Christmas. Like, no, dog.
With the high voice too. Oh,
Yeah.
nah.
Oh, Christmas.
Arbor Day, Arbor Day,
Arbor Day,
Juneteenth.
President's Day.
Right.
Call me Tuesday.
Boxing Day. Right, exactly.
Hey, Juneteenth's a dope nickname, actually. Shay, you might be on something there. That's a good one.
Right.
So, any other thoughts on some of the bullets that he sent some people's way?
Why did he have to break down Said the Entertainer? You remember the part where he was like, the reason he was called Said the Entertainer is he was supposed to dance, sing, and act and tell jokes. And flat out said he can't say none of those. And I was like, that's hilarious. But that's so wrong. Like, I mean, you
That
broke
was
down the
mean.
man's into that was cold. Like that was, I want to say that was like at the beginning of the interview, and you're just, it's like you're standing there and you're watching this interview, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what is he gonna say next? And then it just keeps getting like more and more people are just dying and falling over, and you're just like, this is not gonna go
It's like
over
watching Nas perform Ether live.
well.
Freestyling Ether to your face. You don't know how to react. You're like, what's going on?
And you're like, no, don't do it.
He's already dead. Like
He did say something about like them all being cool together. And I will name Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, Tom Joyner, They're all a part of the same fraternity, which is Omega Sci-Fi, the same fraternity that Mark and I are in. They are kind of cool. There is a brotherly connection between all of them. So I'm not saying it's not a secret society. They are in. It's a well-known society.
Let me put it out there. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated was marked safe from Katt Williams.
Touche. Do y'all have any stand-up comedians in your roster?
What is
No shade.
Yeah.
Bullets. Oh, dang, duck. Get down.
All right, guys,
Bernie
I'm gonna
Mac
leave
Yeah.
now.
No, we do, and I can't even remember my guy's name. I feel like he's in that realm of like Tom Joyner and them. He would. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember his name.
No. The nephew Tommy's a Kappa. I was about to say nephew Tommy, but he's a Kappa.
Hey Nels, can you go through that list real quick again of the people he laid waste
He came
to?
after Steve Harvey, Said the Entertainer, Chris Tucker, Faison Love, Ricky Smiley, Michael Blackston, Kevin Hart, Wanda Smith. Those are just the comedians. There was also Ludacris. There was also Harvey Weinstein, Diddy, Kim Kardashian. I'm probably forgetting a few.
Yo, the Weinstein stuff he said was like, I was like, whoa. He was like, he said,
That was out there.
the man offered me this. What did y'all have to do to get it? I was just like, yo, but like, you know what, man? There was like to jump off that. He said so many things in this interview. I had a good like nod. I was like, yes, like he was even back with Friday. He's like, yo, rape is not funny. It never is funny. And why do we have to make a movie where a black man gets raped? And like for him to be that forward thinking back then, you talk like that now, be like, oh, you're so woke and blah 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 blah, idiots. But it's true. Like, why do you have to put that in the movie? And it will be funnier. And it was funnier. That scene with Damon when he going to back, hold up, player, dealing with a monster, and he's like, it's so funny, dude, and it just works out so much better than. Can you imagine that if like that went down the way they wanted it, and it just and it would have aged next Friday like cheese. It would have aged horribly. You know what I'm saying? But no, like people could still enjoy that movie today because we don't have that scene in it.
Completely off topic, but do you guys consider next Friday a Christmas movie?
Friday After Next.
Friday
Yes,
After
Next.
Yes.
it is a Christmas movie. Just because of Pinky and Pinky alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it this Christmas season specifically for that reason. I was like, let me put on a nice little Christmas movie here.
Friday After Next. So, I mean, he mentioned Martin Lawrence, right? He was like, So one of the things that I did remember, he was for every couple people that he kind of, sprayed on, he was like, well, this person, he took credit for like, he said the reason when Martin Lawrence wanted him to do Big Mama's House 2, he turned it down, but then he pointed them to Brandon T. Jackson.
Was that like to put him on, or was that like, no, this is more your speed?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think a little bit of both. He's like, Brandon, you're not that funny at stand-up, but I think you're really good at doing impersonations. This might be a good opportunity for you. Like, he's not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he got paid off of that, right? So
I will say, and it's fun to talk about like the people he came after. I was impressed, and I even went on like online afterwards and saw a lot of people talking about this, how giving he is. And just like the fact that people, because I'm not in entertainment, but I've like been around those circles, and just what, like Haley said, like a comedian opened up for someone and he didn't get any money and he drops him some money, and like for him to just know that like this person is struggling and they're not getting paid for this gig, so today Katt Williams is paying you whatever. Like, I'm like, man, that is dope. That is like, that's how it's supposed to be done. When you make it, that's how you're supposed to do it.
That's right. Yeah.
Because there's been like a number of celebrities, comedians, and people that I've seen popping up on like Instagram and stuff now, where they're doing like their lives or their videos, but saying, "Yep, Katt Williams, paid me for this, gave me this." and I wasn't part of his team performing for him. That like I think Dion Cole mentioned this. He was saying earlier in his career, did a show, what didn't get paid a bunch or whatever, and then he said this woman walked up to him, like shaking his hand, giving him a hug, and she slipped something in his hand, and he was saying, I just figured she slipped her phone number to me. So, finally I got, he was like, I got by myself. And I looked at my hand, I stepped away, and I was like, it was like over $1,000 or something like that. I was like, what? And then whatever it was, Cat Williams never said anything, and somehow he connected the dots because another comedian said a similar thing happened, and Cat Williams was in the audience, and so he like connected the dots and was like, "That was Cat Williams. Like Cat Williams sent her to give me the money, and so and that was just one answer, but it's been like multiple people saying he just gave me money. Like
I think Boosie said when he came back that Cat Williams gave him like $15,000, and he was like, he gave it to me at like the time I really needed it. Like I was like really in a tough spot, and he came and gave me $15,000. Didn't ask for it. Like he just like saw him and gave it to him. Like there's a bunch. Shannon, you're right. There was a huge long thread of comedians who are and musicians and other folks just talking about all the times that Cat Williams is giving to him. And it's always uniquely enough been at a place where they like really needed the money. And so like Cat just gave him some small blessings, which is so funny because I don't know if y'all know, like a lot of the legal issues with Cat Williams is tax evasion. So it's like they're like the government probably watching this like
Uncle Sam can't tax what I don't have. Merry Christmas, brother.
He's giving my money away.
Yeah. Like all you had to do was just ask for a receipt, Cat, and you could have did a tax write-off or something. Huh? But it's like, nope.
I do. We kind of talked about it, but like the ludicrous thing really got me because now I have this like revisionist history of all the like Fast and Furious movies, but Cat Williams is playing the Taj part, and I'm like, do I want to see that?
Better.
Yes, I want to see that. I guess I want to see Ludacris and Paul Walker be friends and drive cars together.
Cat Williams. Can you imagine Cat Williams with Tyrese? He would be going in on Tyrese.
They'd have to recast Tyrese. They would just have to like for your own good, we're going to get someone else to play this part because he's.
Have y'all seen the clips online where apparently Tyrese was auditioning for the Jamie Foxx part in Django?
No.
Yeah. Yes. Go down the rabbit hole. Okay, so again, revisionist history, right? But it just goes to show. I mean, he did make a good point though that as a Black comedic actor in Hollywood, there's only a handful of roles. And so it's probably the same guys in the room auditioning for the same parts. And so at some point, like you're going to start seeing the same people, whatever. And it's just mind blowing because you're right to just kind of imagine, what if Lil Bow Wow was was Tej? And, I mean, he was in one of the Fast and the Furious, right?
He technically was in the third one.
Yeah,
he played that exact role. Oh man,
that's cold. I mean, but yeah, I think so. Can I ask a question? I mean, I know we're trying to wrap up, but like, what is kind of like your takeaway? But either from what life lesson do we take away from this? And I'll ask the question, then I guess I'll answer it first. I think the biggest thing that I really took away from this is that, like, you can't hold grudges. At some point, you got to let it out because those grudges, they're going to come out when you least expect it. And it's going to be sensational and memorable. But then I feel like at some point, up until now, we remembered Cat for Pimp Chronicles and the Pimp Named Slickback, but now all we're gonna remember is Club Shay Shay. You can't hold grudges, right? I mean, anyway, that was my personal takeaway of it. But I'm curious about you guys. What's the life lesson here?
Well, for me, I took two quotes that when I heard them, I was like, damn. I was like, I'm like, that is coming with me the rest of 2024. One was when he said, like, he's like, Satan cannot create anything. I was like, and I just sat back. I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, damn. Like I just like it just made me like come at life with a different like yes, like yo, the evil, whatever you believe in. But for me, I was like, evil can't create anything against you. There's just forces to manipulate against you in life and people to manipulate, and you just gotta work through those things. And then I'm messing it up, but the quote he said about if tonight was your last night and how could you go to sleep? Like I'm messing it, I'm butchering it, but I think I know what I'm talking about. He said something about like going to sleep.
Living every day like it's your last.
Yes, and could you go? Would you be happy going to sleep knowing like this is it? I was like, whoa, like I was Shannon Sharp. Wow, wow. You know?
No,
Hey,
those
Mark,
are
those are some good ones.
one that comes to mind for me was he said something along the lines of the truth doesn't need encouragement. And then he sort of did a repeat of that, but he said something also along the lines of a man who tells the truth has nothing to fear, something in that vein.
Mm.
So like that's deep because you got nothing to fear, you're telling the truth, is that. But what it also has me thinking of now with that is it's almost like a person who tells their truth has nothing to fear, because I
Hmm.
think we're sort of noticing that, there is a solid truth, but we also are noticing that depending on the story, sometimes the truth is relative. Because for Cat Williams, I think he was completely 100% telling the truth from his perspective,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then I'm sure there are some other people who are going to come out and they aren't going to be straight up lying. They're going to be telling their truth from their perspective, and there's going to be a little bit of conflict there. And so, when that happens, what do you do from there? Especially if somebody's like, no, like I'm not lying. Like, I'm like a lie would be, I never performed with Cat Williams at this show, and they're not going to be like that. They're going to be like, yep, we both performed. And this is why I got to go on first because I worked hard and this and that. And his story might be that person got the, or I'm sorry, or I got the headline because of this. And he might say, this person got the headline because of what I consider a shady backdoor deal, and once again, both of them are telling the truth from their perspective. So for me, that's sort of like the lesson coming away with that. Yes, the truth needs no encouragement. You have nothing to fear if you're telling the truth, but also sometimes the truth is in your perspective and somebody else's may be different.
The lesson I took is like, don't screw people over,
Yeah.
because in
Yeah.
about 10 years, they may randomly end up on Club Shay Shay, putting out business that might 10% be true, but it's the little bit of truth enough makes everything else just sound really bad. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the lesson I took away. Don't screw people over, and like help folks out, because folks like that. What I vividly remember, it's funny, like you were saying, like folks will remember the interview. I'm actually gonna remember like Dion Cole and that thread of all those people that Cat Williams helped. Like it took
Hmm.
Hmm.
him going in on that for me to remember how all these comedians, some successful, some not successful, all these musicians just like talking about like Cat helped me out when I really needed it. And he didn't ask for it and he never told anybody. Like that's gonna be, I'm gonna lean on the being like charitable and altruistic and don't screw people over. That's the lesson I'm gonna take away
Yeah.
from
I
this
like that. I like
special.
that.
And
That's good.
I got kind of like one more from like an outside pop culture stance. It's always been this way, but it made me realize even more how important it is in this day and age to be first. Whatever it is, because a microphone is in your face and you're on the internet, what you say is the word. It's the truth. And I'm not saying Cat wasn't lying, but like that interview came out and then the internet was like woof the next day, took off with it. And it's like it kind of scary because what if he was lying? What if he is lying? I don't think he is, but what if he was lying? What if this is all made up and we're all just it's like feeding the beast, that pop culture media beast, and it's really interesting. And I don't know what exactly made this one like the interview of the year, but it just like the power of media, right? I don't know. I was like, man, that it's crazy the times we live in, and information is king, and whoever sometimes says it the loudest is the right one.
Stephen A. Smith got something to say about that interview of the year. So
Mhm.
he fired up Jason Whitlock today.
We also want to keep in mind this was amazing, but we look at things marketing and stuff like that. To my understanding, Cat Williams has a special and a tour that are coming up soon.
Oh yeah.
And you think
Oh.
and you think if this is not going to be like wildfire for that, like I already think there are Cat Williams fans, many of us, so people were going to go there anyway. But now, I mean, this was the difference between probably going to a show that has 20,000 seats and maybe you were going to fill up 16,000. You definitely going to fill up 20,000. You might have to do 2 shows in the same city.
And he's bringing Kevin Hart's wife on tour with him.
Yeah.
Which I was like, yo, enough. Enough.
Tory Hart. Tory Hart's gonna be on tour with them.
Yeah, dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
Like that's like in the Mortal Kombat, you gotta like match over, like
fatality. Oh my
fatality.
goodness.
Williams
all right.
wins.
Thank you all. And Elliot, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
It was
Hope
my
you enjoyed
pleasure.
your time with the Pop Cult.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation. I need a lot more of this. So if you guys ever need someone else, you got my number, and I appreciate you guys. This is a really great platform. We need more of this. We need more of this on the interwebs, on Beyonce's internet. So let's keep it going. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for being here.
And thank you, Pop Cult, for listening. We have a new episode every month. You can find us on all social media at Pop Cult Parent, POPCULTPARENT. Email or visit us at www.popcultparent.com. Email us at popcultparent@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate us, review, and subscribe. And as always, join the cult. Peace.
Peace.
We out.